It's Monday, September 13th, 2010. In this week's BeakerBeat, life sciences companies opened up their wallets en masse this week. We'll catch you up on all the deals, including one that wasn't. Plus, new demands that healthcare workers get a shot in the arm, and the FDA wants you to see right through them. We'll explain. All that and more in this week's edition of BeakerBeat. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of BeakerBeat. I'm Mike Justice, thanks for tuning in. Well, this week's show, it's all about money, as in life sciences companies are spending it like it's burning a hole in their pocket. Jeremy and I don't have this problem. We don't know how that feels. We'll begin with the biggest deal of the week. Bristol Myers Squibb is buying one of its development partners, Seattle-based Zymogenetics, for $885 million. The two companies are working on a mid-stage hepatitis C biologic treatment. Hep C is predicted to grow into a multi-billion-dollar market, and this deal makes BMS an immediate player, joining the likes of Vertex, J&J, and Merck. BMS also gets a pipeline that includes new therapies for cancer and inflammatory conditions. The $9.75 per share offer is an 84% premium, a great deal for shareholders. On a lighter note, they also now control one of the more storied and attractive landmarks in the life sciences industry. Zymo's corporate offices are on the shores of Lake Union in Seattle in a distinctive converted factory. Anyone who's driven by has had their attention drawn by the enormous stacks protruding from the renovated historic steam plant. Without question, the office building is one of the more recognizable across the entire industry. Of course, neither company is speculating on the fate of Zymo's offices or its employees until the deal closes. Now, this wasn't the only deal of the week. Plenty of companies were in the mood to buy. We'll get to those stories later in the show. There is, however, one massive deal that we haven't talked about because it hasn't happened yet. It looks as if Sanofi Aventis has flinched first after Genzyme's board and CEO Henry Termeer told the French drug maker to stick it after a $69 per share buyout bid. Sanofi has come back to the table with a new offer. The sweetened deal at $71 per share raises the total price to $18.9 billion. Reuters is reporting that this informal offer really is as high as Sanofi's prepared to go without looking at Genzyme's records. Any higher and this becomes a little more complicated. So the question is, will Genzyme bite? The ball is now in their court and they could be preparing to counteroffer. On Friday, Genzyme began a mass layoff, 1,000 people or about 8% of its workforce, in a move that many analysts see as a way to increase margins and raise the value of the company. Meanwhile, Sanofi has disclosed that it's lined up $10 billion in loans to pay for the deal. Now, if and when this deal gets done, it will of course dwarf anything we've seen this year. Well, tell us what you think about this story or any story that you see in today's show. It's very simple. Click on the orange button below me. A box will pop up. You type in your comment. You send it to me. I promise I'll read and respond to every one of them. And when you're done watching BeakerBeat, check out Beaker's blog where we discuss the issue of performance-enhancing drugs, including the next generation called SARMs. Are they safer and should drug companies pursue them at all? Plus, J&J's chief shows why he's one of the best in the biz. See the interview with CNBC. All that and more on Beaker's blog. Beckman Coulter is hiring for at least one job anyway. Don't get excited, you're not qualified. Scott Garrett has resigned as chairman, president, and CEO of the Southern California Biomedical Testing Company. Even though no reason was given, Garrett's departure is not surprising. His 5-year tenure is marked by, well, nothing in particular. Most in the industry see Beckman Coulter as having tread water for the past few years, practically slipping off the radar. And a move that clearly hints at their long-term intentions, the board appointed Bob Hurley as interim president and CEO. Hurley's the company's head of human resources and earned his stripes as a line executive in Asia Pacific for Baxter and then Beckman Coulter. Still, he's an unlikely candidate to become the permanent CEO of Beckman Coulter. Instead, the company will conduct a search across the industry. No one is sure what the path forward is for Beckman Coulter. Maybe that's the point, and why the board felt the timing was right to make a change. You know, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I'd rather have a fruit that keeps the swine flu away, quite frankly. With the flu season upon us, several groups are right now demanding that medical workers take a dose of their own medicine. A recent CDC survey found that only 37% of healthcare workers received the swine flu vaccine. So the American Academy of Pediatrics is calling for mandatory flu vaccinations for all doctors, nurses, and other medical staff. The idea is to eliminate an unnecessary health threat to patients. Apparently, nurses have the lowest rates of all, while having the most contact with patients. The Academy joins several other organizations backing mandatory flu shots for health workers. Others include the National Patient Safety Foundation, the Infectious Diseases Society of America, and the Society of Healthcare Epidemiologists. This comes with an early start to flu vaccination season. A total of 160 million doses of seasonal flu vaccine is being produced, roughly 40% more than last year. The CDC recommends everyone older than 6 months gets the universal flu shot this year. The new FDA has been touting transparency as one of its priorities. I'm transparent. Can you see me, Jeremy? You can't see me, can you? I'm right here. What's the matter with you? Pay attention. The FDA is furthering its journey towards transparency with the launch of FDA Track, a multi-level performance management system. TRACK stands for Transparency, Results, Accountability, Credibility, and Knowledge Sharing. The idea is to encourage agency accountability by measuring how well managers and employees meet their goals. In addition, the system provides a way for the public to monitor agency activities. FDA Track analyzes performance at 4 levels: agency, center, program, and project. Performance measurement stats are reported monthly. The monthly stats are analyzed quarterly and presented to leadership. The FDA Track internet site provides public access to program and project level activities. Jeremy, I love Golden Delicious apples. They're so good. Time for some quick hits now, and a legal tactic by a pharma giant may not hold water. Oh, that's really good. You can't have any until we're done shooting. Johnson & Johnson and Merck are in a battle over the rights to the blockbuster anti-inflammatory drug Remicade and its successor, Simponi. At stake is nearly $3 billion in annual revenues. The sticking point is whether J&J's original marketing agreement with Schering-Plough survived the merger with Merck. Under that deal, Remicade rights would revert to J&J if Schering underwent a change in control. Knowing this, Merck structured its deal with Schering as a reverse merger, in which Schering technically bought Merck, but changed its name to Merck and kept Merck's CEO. We'll soon find out if that technicality flies with the arbitration panel of 3 former federal judges. Remicade is now Merck's second biggest drug. If it loses those revenues, one of its reasons for buying Schering in the first place will have vanished, and Merck's stock price will no doubt suffer. We'll keep you posted. European regulators are gathering more info about Avandia safety. The European Medicines Agency convened an unexpected meeting of its advisory committee to discuss the diabetes drug, and that panel, quote, identified a number of further questions for drug maker GlaxoSmithKline. This comes on the heels of UK regulators advising the EMA to pull the drug, with Germany and Sweden waiting in the wings. Meanwhile, the FDA is due to decide what's next, perhaps this week. GSK maintains the drug is safe when used according to its label. From the We Saw This Coming file, Pharmalot reports that just 1 month after agreeing to buy Penwest Pharma for $144 million, Endo Pharmaceuticals is now laying off sales managers and sales reps. As you know from watching our show, Roche is launching a cost-cutting drive in the US and Europe, which will include layoffs, but the company will be expanding and hiring in China. The Swiss drug maker plans to boost its Chinese workforce by 25% this year, or about 750 new jobs. Checking Money Matters now, and I don't know what these are. Jeremy, a little help. Anchor Therapeutics has snared a $480 million preclinical discovery pact with J&J's Ortho McNeil Janssen Pharmaceuticals. No word, however, on how much of that is upfront money. Anchor also gets an undisclosed amount of research support from the J&J operation. Cambridge, Mass-based Anchor, formerly known as Ascent before a name change earlier this year, has aggressively targeted new partnerships at an early stage. This is an increasingly common strategy for upstart developers with platform technology in play. Its first pact was with the Novartis Option Fund, which provided a $200 million deal. Roche is teaming up with Belgian biotech Remind on 2 preclinical candidates. The deal could hit $637 million in milestones if the partners can make their way to the marketplace. Remind's compounds are disease-modifying therapies for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. Cambridge, Mass-based Acceleron has inked a $498 million development deal with Shire, with $45 million of that up front for its lead therapy, ACE-031, designed to regulate the growth of skeletal muscle. The deal gives Shire international marketing rights, while Acceleron keeps the U.S. rights, which it hopes will be its first commercial launch. Onyx's $851 million deal to buy out Proteolix and its potential blockbuster cancer drug is already returning dividends. Ono Pharma snagged the Japanese rights to the drug, carfilzomib, now in a pivotal phase 3 study, for $59 million upfront and up to $280 million in milestones. Onyx views the drug as a blockbuster in the making, capable of earning the same big bucks as Nexavar. Jeremy, look, we finally found something that we like here at the farmer's market. Anyway, a reminder now, we're only a few weeks away from AdvaMed 2010, the MedTech conference, and Beaker will be there. This October, life sciences CEOs and executives from around the world will gather in Washington, D.C. for AdvaMed 2010, the MedTech conference. Unlike traditional industry conventions, this conference brings together top industry insiders with a wide range of meaningful subjects up for discussion. From regulatory affairs and reimbursement to IP and business development, if it's important to the industry, you will find it here. Guests will include Dr. Margaret Hamburg and CBS News anchor Katie Couric, along with hundreds of industry leaders. Beaker's an official media partner, and we invite you to join us there. For more information, click on the link on our homepage. Well, that's it for this week's edition of BeakerBeat. I'm Mike Justice. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. And now it's time to eat the cookie. It's so good, Jeremy. It's so good. Sit, Beaker. Sit. Good dog. There's nowhere to put it, Jeremy. I don't think we can cook this pig. Looks delicious, though.